Hey everyone, it's Miss Gibbs. The first step in our drawing here that we're doing is to write our names that we did earlier during the warm-up on the popsicle stick. We're going to take those hieroglyphs and use the Sharpie to draw them on, but be careful that you leave extra room when you're drawing the designs because they will bleed when you're using the Sharpie. Not blood, ink. After that, you're going to use gold watercolor and you're going to lightly paint over the whole popsicle stick. You could use tempera or acrylic as long as it's thin. I just happen to have watercolor, so I use that. You notice I only have my one water out. I'm not doing dirty water, clean water because I'm only using one color. And there it is, shiny. We're going to start by folding our paper in half, like a hot dog, not a hamburger, hot dog. That's going to form our line for symmetry. We're going to trace our sarcophagus using the template that I made. Position it so it's centered. And just use your pencil to draw the line around it. Next, we're going to trace the popsicle stick. Position it so it's centered and it's touching the bottom of that sarcophagus. And just trace around it. Okay. Now you're going to use that popsicle stick to draw your horizontal lines. Those are the ones that go across. Could use a ruler, but why bother getting a ruler out when we have this right in front of us? Draw at least 4 sections, maybe 4 or 5 sections. Next, we're going to draw the face. I'm using a Sharpie here so that you could see what I'm doing. And I'm starting by making a U shape with a line on the top. Next, I draw 2 lines down the sides. And then I form a curve. Add some ears. Next, I'm going to draw my eyes. Add the eyebrows. And then I am thickening those lines around the eyes and kind of flaring them out. Adding my nose. And then I start my mouth with a line and then I add the lips over it. And mine is a male, so I went and I drew the beard section there. Next, we're going to do the headdress and the collar. And I started by putting a band at the top. And remember, everything is symmetrical. So if I put one line on one side, I have to go to the other side and put a line there. You can always use that popsicle stick like a ruler. And remember, don't draw your line all the way across because it'll go right over the face. You have to pick up that Sharpie. Next, I'm adding in the collar. That's going over the shoulders. And it's okay that I'm drawing over that line there in the middle where we did the popsicle because we're going to be gluing that down later. So you're not going to see that. Not a big deal. Next, we're going to draw some symmetrical patterns. You can look at the reference sheet that I gave all of you, or you can create your own, just as long as they are symmetrical, which means that whatever you draw on one side, you're going to draw on the other side also. When you're drawing these, remember you want to draw a different pattern design in each section. So you should have at least 4 different patterns happening. Again, you can always use a popsicle stick like a ruler. And any spots that you want to appear dark, you can fill them in with the Sharpie. And that's what I'm doing here. Alright, now it's time to color with some markers. You'll notice that these markers are not permanent. You can use permanent if you want, but I'm not using permanent here. And you're just going to go and color symmetrically. Remember, both sides have to match. And this does not have to be totally precise in terms of the marker line going over the edge of the sarcophagus, because we will be cutting these out. Of course, try to stay in the lines between the patterns and all that, but also you're going to want to extend over that center portion where we have the popsicle stick so that there isn't a white gap. Remember, if you put a color on one side, you're going to put that color on the other side in the same spot. That's symmetrical. Okay, next we are going to paint gold accents using either tempera or acrylic. And I'm starting here by painting the face. So the face is gold. You want to stay in the lines when you're doing this part. You notice I only have that one water. Again, I don't have dirty water, clean water because I'm using just one color. But it's important that you make the X on the sponge. You don't want extra water here because it will activate the marker and you'll end up with a watercolor effect, which is really not what we're going for here. So what I'm doing first is I'm doing all of the yellow sections first, and then I'm doing the blue sections. That's to prevent the mixing of the colors. So if it does end up with a tiny bit of extra water, it's not really going to affect it because I'm just using the same color, yellow and then blue. And really, you don't even need to paint the blue part. You can just paint the gold parts. And even though you want to stay in the lines, you don't need to worry about getting the gold paint on the line because we will be going over that line with Sharpie. Your line should probably still be pencil right now anyhow, so don't worry about that. And when you're done with the headdress part, you can add some gold paint to wherever you have yellow. I would say is a good place to add it. Okay. Next, we're going to outline with the Sharpie. So basically, you're just going to trace over everything that's black with the Sharpie. Remember, don't press hard when you're using the Sharpie. We want to keep that tip pointy. We don't want it to dull from pressing too hard. And on the sarcophagus, we're just going to outline everything. Now we're going to cut the sarcophagus out. That's why you don't have to worry about going over the lines. And then we're going to glue down the popsicle stick. You can ignore that Latin phrase in there. And for the background, you can just take a ruler or something straight and either a white oil pastel or a white crayon, and you can add some different hieroglyphs to the paper. I drew some registers on, and you can try to tell a story with it. And then you glue your sarcophagus, and you are all done.